part 3 for what CRPS feels like, and more specific than everything hurts. I don't do mindfulness to help with my pain. I'm willing to believe that mindfulness might help some people with pain, but for me, it's very, very terrible. Because part of how I've learned how to function with CRPS is that I try not to go out of my way to focus on how much everything sucks. And when I am having a worse pain day, or when someone pointedly asks me how something feels, or to focus on how my limbs feel, or how a texture feels touching me, or how I'm breathing is especially dangerous. I'll get to that in a second. When I focus on how limbs feel, and I focus on how clothes feel, or how a particular texture feels, or even if I go to the point of, when I was in theater class, we did an exercise that I used to actually really like, where you laid on the stage and you imagined sunlight slowly spreading across your entire body and feeling the warmth. And now I can't convince myself to do that exercise, because I used to really like it because it felt relaxing. I could imagine the sunlight and I felt relaxed. But now when I imagine feeling the sunlight, and when I'm actually in the sun and I feel the sunlight and I really soak in the sun, it doesn't feel like a pleasant day. It feels like somebody's holding a hot iron to my skin. So the way I've learned how to function is I just wear the clothes that I wear. I wear jeans because even with the CRPS, even though right now focusing on how the jeans feel on me, it feels like there's a layer of thin sand between my clothes and my skin, and bugs crawling all over my legs. I grew up wearing jeans while I rode horses and while I worked in the barn, and so my brain has this link of jeans are real pants, and real pants are what you get work done in, and they're what you stay safe in, so that if you have to fall down, you don't get skinned up. And that has stayed through the CRPS and through dog training and all that stuff. I like being active, and so jeans they stayed a part of my life. I still wear, let's see if I can do something slightly dangerous here. I still wear sneakers. And I wear lace-up boots. I wear sneakers because they give me a good texture on the ground and help prevent falls. I wear lace-up boots because they protect my ankles from the XXX letting them hyperextend either way, which causes falls. Do those hurt? Yes, massively. It took a long time to get used to wearing those shoes, but it goes back to safety. I'm safer when I wear those as opposed to sandals or flip-flops, and so that overrides however much discomfort I'm in from the CRPS. That's not going to be the case for everybody. That's just how my mind is able to cope with everything. So my shoes generally feel like, wearing shoes makes me feel like my feet are trapped in a hot tub, and like there's, as if my 80-pound dog was sitting on them all the time. And if I think about it, I can feel my insole and all of its contours, and I can also feel every inch of my sock touching both the bottom of my foot and the top of my foot, and how the fabric is a little bit itchy, and my feet might be a little too warm in real life, but I'm not sure because of the CRPS messing with my ability to perceive temperature. The brace feels sticky and sweaty, and like there might also be sand in between the layers of the brace and my hand, but I have XXX, which causes some hypermobility, not as bad as EDS, but some. And last night I woke up to find that this hand had bent itself all the way back like that, and that I was then laying on it and putting that pressure. So like it was like that, and I was laying on it. And I think I'd been like that for about an hour before the pain woke me up. So today I've been wearing the brace just as a precautionary measure to prevent it from bending and causing more pain. Every time my XXX does something fun, it causes extremely intense pain for me. My XXX makes tendons, muscles, connective tissue, and bones move more freely, and all of that triggers a very real in-time CRPS flare for me. Feeling my clothes right now, my clothes are very lightweight. They're very soft. I shop on bad days so that I know what my clothes feel like when I feel the absolute worst. But I'm wearing a tank top, a long sleeve shirt, and a short sleeve shirt because we're getting into fall/winter here. And I can feel all the different layers. So I can feel where on my body the demarcation is for where the tank top straps are, for where it's riding up on my back, for where my t-shirt is touching my upper arms. And I'm starting to get more and more stressed out the more I make this video, because I try so hard not to think about all these tiny little things, because the more I think about all these tiny little things, they stack up for me and they cause more stress, they cause more anxiety, they cause more pain, and they cause more incorrect sensations, like feeling like bugs are crawling on me, feeling like there's sand underneath my clothes, feeling like I'm standing on gravel, feeling like someone's holding a hot poker against my skin, feeling like there's a piece of hay or a piece of straw in my shirt when there isn't anything there, feeling like I have splinters on me when there's nothing there. And even just saying this stuff out loud to you right now, my brain is also conjuring those sensations for me in various parts of my body where they weren't yet. I can feel my glasses and the weight of my glasses on my face. My clothes, my upper body, my shirts feel like the weight of them. They're not that heavy. They're very lightweight, but the CRPS causes me to perceive them as if they're the weight of a wet washcloth. And that sensation too of it feeling wet and heavy and damp, even though no rain, no water, no weird showers, my shirt is completely dry. And if I touch it with my hands, I can tell that it's dry. But just standing here existing in it, it feels wet and heavy to me. When I sit down, I can feel all of these wrinkles. So I'm very, like Star Trek, I kind of pull my shirt down and pull my pants up before I sit down. And I make a big deal of like smoothing out the blanket that rests over my chair before I sit down. Because if there are wrinkles anywhere, it's like Princess and the Pea. I feel that wrinkle, and that wrinkle causes a pressure point of pain wherever it's touching. Breathing. So people have asked me before to focus on how I'm breathing. And I say, no, thank you. I'm gonna not. And the reason for that is when I focus on breathing, I start to worry that I'm breathing wrong. And then I panic. Why am I breathing wrong? And then I stop breathing. And I can only stop breathing for about 15 seconds. And then I know something's for sure wrong because I've stopped breathing. And then I gasp for air. And then I breathe very, very wrong for about 5 minutes to 10 minutes to sometimes an hour. The only way to break me out of that cycle is for me to watch TV, watch a really good movie, get focused on that, and stop thinking about how I'm breathing. And once I stop trying to think about how I'm breathing, I go back to breathing what is normal for me. What is normal for me is actually still very, very wrong, but I'm alive, so we let it go for the most part. I don't take deep breaths. I don't breathe normally. The right side of my rib cage is deformed. It's been deformed since I was 15 from a horseback riding accident, and yes, the triple X. And then also because I'm in so much pain, because there's so many muscle spasms happening where we don't know they're happening, I don't fully expand my rib cage. I just kind of lock everything down as a defensive mechanism. That's part of the CRPS. So I can focus on my breathing for very short bursts, but I have to do it a very particular way. I have to feel my rib cage. And what I focus on is, instead of focusing on breathing, I focus on moving my hands. So and then I'm done, and that's it. And I do that a few times a day, and then I call it. And even that hurts, and I start to feel lightheaded, but I just kind of push through it. As long as I focus on moving my hands and not how the breath feels, I don't have a panic attack about possibly breathing wrong and then stop breathing. So a lot of people recommend breathing techniques, and I actually don't recommend breathing techniques for CRPS, because I've noticed with myself and other CRPSers, if we start to focus too intently on any one body area, the fight or flight or sometimes freeze turns up higher. I suspect it's because, our brains are just wired differently once you have CRPS, and especially once you have CRPS for as long as people like myself have, which is more than 14 years, or 14 years, sorry, more than 10 years. Your brain and your central nervous system get completely changed by this disorder. And see, now I'm having trouble breathing. And it's based on my experience, based on talking to other people, based on talking to people who've bothered to learn about CRPS, it does seem like the more you focus in on a potential problem area, the more our systems are inclined to ramp up the emergency protocols, and for sure start to worry the hell about whatever it is we're focused on, whether it needs to be worried about or not. And so I try to steer people away from mindfulness. I try to steer people away from fixating on their pain or how something feels. I try to encourage people to just wear clothes that feel even somewhat remotely comfortable to them, or that they have a memory of feeling good to them. I don't have contraptions that hold blankets or anything off of me. I just pick blankets that I know mentally feel good, and then just use those, and I make myself stay under them. That is a personal choice though, but these techniques have helped me adapt and live with the CRPS better. But when your friend with CRPS, or when you're listening to my videos, when a loved one says everything hurts, I know everything is a big concept. It's kind of like trying to imagine how big the earth is, but everything hurts. Or everything either hurts or everything creates a sensation that may or may not be real, or may or may not be true. Let's say true instead of real. It's very real, unfortunately. I have to ask my husband if it's cold in the room or if it's warm in the room because I genuinely don't know. I can't rely on him because he's part husky and he lies sometimes. For instance, he likes it when it's 1 degree outside. So he can't be trusted all the time. I do know his fur is really soft, but I also know his tail is really rough because there are some days where I cannot touch his tail. I can't do it. I can't make myself do it. There are other days where I can touch his tail and I'm able to log it into my memory that it's rough. And so on really bad hand days, I know to just not touch his tail as much as possible. So I limit that added hand flare. I don't know if this has been helpful or more confusing, but my hope is that by trying to explain and literally show you what triggers pain, that this will give people a better understanding of the greatness, the vastness of everything hurts. Everything has an impact. I don't experience anything in a day that doesn't have some kind of an impact on me. Pain, sensation of gravel or hot or cold or prickliness or sandiness or bugs crawling or bugs nibbling or I've been bitten by a lot of different animals, so I know what that feels like up here before the CRPS. So that too, tremors, spasms, weakness, loss of balance, loss of coordination. My knee right now is trying to hyperextend because I'm still getting back in the swing of standing. Everything I do, everything I touch, everything I see, everything I say, even reading pages on a book or reading pages on a screen causes some sort of something with my eyeballs. I get eye tremors. My eyes don't actually shake. My visual cortex creates tremors when I look at other things. I got dizzy and nauseous voting because of the stripes on the outside of the ballot. I cannot look at Dalmatians for more than 10 seconds before my eyes start to feel like somebody's stabbing knives through them. Because spots and patterns, things like paisley, stripes, polka dots, all of those things are very overwhelming and then trigger pain. So I made these videos because today has already been a really crappy pain day for me, and so I knew I could intentionally cause some flares for me and I would be okay, as opposed to making these videos on a good day. But hopefully these help people understand more about CRPS and more about the weirdness of it and just the stupidity of it. Like, this shouldn't hurt. This shouldn't hurt. Holding a stick shouldn't hurt. Brain fog, okay? I just looked for my phone. I'm shooting this on my phone. Brain fog. It's great. That's another part of CRPS. Okay, holding a pen. I'm intensely aware of the rough line between the cap and the body of the marker. I perceive it as cold, and I perceive it both as being heavy enough to trigger joint pain in my fingers and light enough that I'm worried about dropping it. I can feel the difference between the pin and where they printed the label on the pin. It's not a sticker, it's printed on, and I can feel the difference between that and the rest of the marker. I can feel vibrations in my computer that nobody else can feel happening. I can feel in the ground, sound systems, tractors coming up. I can tell what a car is that's coming up behind me based on the vibration and the sound it makes. all of this is the CRPS. I was not like this before. And it's partly why it makes it so hard for people to understand us, is because it is very hard to grasp the enormity of everything.